To your surprise, we are not working on the Nova. I think this is the first time, the first video, I should say, that we're working on the 72 Camaro. How does the Master Mechanic feel about that?
I feel ecstatic. It's a good idea.
So in this video, we're going to be changing the water pump to an electric water pump, and we're going to be upgrading the drive system. It's currently a Corvette drive that's on there, and we're going to be changing it to F-body style. Without further ado, welcome back to the ZHP Garage, everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. Let's see how much better this thing drives. We're not going to drive it in the beginning of the video because we already have videos of us driving it, but we're planning on driving this at the end of the video. We're going to drive it to see the difference on the power.
And if you can't tell on the video, the difference in horsepower from the mechanical to the electric, we're going to take this, we're planning on taking this to Irwindale. We haven't gone to Irwindale yet, we're going to check it out, but we're going to take this there, and we're going to see the difference in ET from Verona to Irwindale. They're both 8 mile tracks, so that's how we're going to determine what it adds, how much power, the difference. All right, so let's go ahead and get it installed.
All right, so let's show the new parts that we have for the F-body drive, and let's get started on it.
So I have some upgrading changes I want to do to the Camaro, and right now we're going to start with the drive system and the water pump, and I want to show you what's going on here. So right now I'm running a C5 drive, but I don't have the power steering pump. So the belt's got this long distance right here. It doesn't really hold the tension on it. And it drives me nuts because I'll do a burnout or something, and if you snap the throttle shut, it'll chirp the belt. And a lot of times people think it's just the tires chirping like they're grabbing after doing a burnout. It drives me insane. So I'm going to change it.
Everything drives you insane.
Yeah, everything drives me insane. But on top of changing it, I want to upgrade it to an electric water pump to kind of free up a little more power. And then I'm going to move the alternator down low to an F-body style, but the bracket that I'm using is an aftermarket bracket. So I'm going to start with draining the petcock. I'm going to get all the old stuff off of here. Eventually, my charge wire is a little small. I'm going to change that later. And then this car used to have a small block in it. Before this, it had a conventional 23-degree small block with an electric water pump. So it's already wired over here for the water pump. So it's already pre-wired in this loom because it had one before. So that'd be a little bit of time saving. So I'm going to get this intake out of the way so we have some more room. I'm going to get this all old stuff, you can say, even though it's like brand new, off of here. All this is going to go on to the little turbo LS build deal. Anyways, let's get it off. Let's get it off. Oh. Man, I think it's time to clean that air filter too. Maybe get one a tad bigger. Set this aside. We're going to reuse this. This is staying the same. All right, so I got a catch can down here. I'm going to get the petcock opened up. Oh, never mind, I don't have a petcock. It has a petcock, but it's got a Allen plug in it because, I don't know. I guess that's what I put in there. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to take the lower hose off. We'll go to this side. So let me take off this one-off lower hose here I made. Oh my gosh. I had a real hard time with this screwdriver today. Now I got it all lubed up really well. You can always use a little cotter pin, hooky tool, come in here and break the hose loose. Sometimes they get a little glued on there. There we go. Well, now I did it.
Man.
You see, I don't know if you saw the video, the Nova video, where we had to make the little pipe for lower hose, but on here I had to do the same thing because the radiator size was a different size from the water pump outlet. So you see how it's reduced down, and plus, you know, you can't get a hose for a C5 drive in a Camaro, second gen. So I made this little guy, worked out great. So hopefully we can reuse it on the new water pump. It should be similar. So I'm gonna take the upper hose off, probably take, just to get it out of the way, I'll take both sides off because we gotta do a little, I'll show you, I gotta do a little drilling down here for this bracket. So we'll just get it completely out of the way for right now. So now we got all the hoses out of the way, we're gonna get this belt off. 15mm wrench. Just pop it off of here. It's kind of tight because it's a little different. Obviously, don't have the power steering, so the belt's a little different length. I don't know if I can reuse the belt on the next setup. So now I'm just gonna take this whole bracket off, alternator and everything. So I disconnected the battery because if you want your kill switch, because the battery's in the trunk, so you have to have a kill switch. And if you want it to work properly, you have to run your power wire from the alternator all the way back to the battery, because it's got to be before the kill switch. This is always live. It always has voltage to it. So I disconnected the battery. So now I'll take this, there's only one, you know, there's only the charge post is all it's on it. So I'll take the charge wire off of here and then just the mounting bolts. We'll take this whole bracket and alternator off of here now. You just gotta be careful. You don't want to twist your charge terminal. So we'll just set this over here. We're not worried about it hitting anything because we disconnected the battery. 4 mounting bolts where this thing mounts to the front of the cylinder head here. So we're just gonna take the bolts out now. This is the whole enchilada. So it has the idler. So it's whole bracket we're changing. So we took the whole thing off. Now you can see, man, really starting to open up some space here. So on this side over here, you can see the 2 outlet that would normally be for your heater core. So I pulled the little tubes out of it and I tapped it. So this one's my temperature gauge. I have a mechanical gauge, and then I put the little steam port to the water pump here. This is technically wrong. You don't want to put it here because this is a high pressure port, and more than likely what it's doing is it's pushing coolant into your steam ports when it should be allowing steam to come out. So we're going to change this. This is kind of a hurry deal. Some people, you can tap the water pump. I kind of want to make it so it wasn't one water pumped. Like,
one water pump?
Like if you ever changed it, that you wouldn't have, like if you took it somewhere, if somebody else bought this or something, and they took their car somewhere, you wouldn't have to go to like a specialty shop, or somebody would be like super confused because it was tapped over here or something. So I tried to make it more user-friendly, I guess you could say, because I didn't think this was going to be a permanent setup in here. But this is not the right way to do this. So you want to go either go to the tank on the radiator or go to the low pressure on the water pump, which is what we're going to wind up doing. So we'll talk about that in a minute. So we're going to take our temperature gauge out here, and then we're going to take these fittings out, and then we're going to actually take this whole line off because I'm going to use this same size, but we're going to make it longer because it's going to be different. So we'll take these 2 off right now. I want to take both fittings, but I got to take the probe first. So we'll let that sit there. We'll take out I want to take out the adapter fitting here while the water pump's being held in place, so it'd be easier to get it out because you see it's super tight. And then now we're going to take off our little steam port here. This shouldn't be too tight. I think I can get away with 1 wrench here. So this is going to be longer, but I'm going to reuse these fittings here, but I'll show you in a second on that. And then because this is a dash 1/8 inch pipe, I had to reduce it. So I'm going to take that reducer out of there for right now because I'm not going to use that. All right, so now we got this stripped down. So now we're going to take our water pump off. So now we got the last bolt here. We got to hold on to our water pump and break our gaskets loose. This is just a stock replacement factory C5 water pump. Here's all the old stuff. This is all the stuff that we're changing out, we're not using. We're still gonna have a tensioner and stuff, but it's a different style. So out with the old, and let me show you the new. So this is the new stuff here. It's a new pile. So this I didn't exactly need. It just made it a little easier, and I just want to show it. This is a little template to drill the hole because of the. I'll show you in a second. But the cast iron blocks don't have one of the bolt holes that this kit needs. The aluminum blocks are already, like the LS3s and the Cadillac, the aluminum 6.2s, or even the 5.3s. They already have the bolt hole. This is like a template. It's not really necessary, but it just makes it a little easier, and it was only a couple bucks. So the bracket is an ICT. It's a billet bracket. It uses the C5 drive, so it spaces it. So with the C5 is the furthest one back, so it brings it back, so you can run the F-body style alternator on the C5. So it just brings it back. So this is the bracket. So it mounts it down low on the driver's side, and it comes with a tensioner. And we got this I bought separate. This is the brace. You can see on here, this brace here. So this doesn't come with the kit. I got this separately to give it a little more support because the alternator is gonna be mounted pretty much down here. So we got the brace, the tensioner comes with the bracket, and then we have the bracket, and it comes with obviously an idler pulley, a whole bunch of bolts and spacers. So it's really nice piece. I like it. And then I got a new alternator, obviously, because the C5 and the F-body is a different mounting. So I got Power Master, just a black alternator. It's pretty much the same one. The same alternator is the same deal. Black alternator, it's a 1-wire. So all you have is the charge post. Don't have to worry about any triggering or anything. It's all internal. And this is the magic here. This is the nice. So we got a Missouri electric water pump. This thing, man, it's a trick. So where you want to go with that steam port is over here on the low pressure side of the pump. This is a high pressure side. It gives you one outlet for heater core, something, any option you have. But you only have one, so your return would have to be somewhere else. I'm hoping I could use this for my temperature gauge, but this is where I'm going to go with my steam ports. Obviously, it was on the passenger side before. Now it's got to come over here to the driver's side, so the line's got to be longer. Initially, I was planning on doing it with a -6, so I got a couple fittings because I couldn't find a radius port because it's a radius port -8. I think is what it was. Yeah, -8 radius port, or an O-ring, you can call it, to an AN. I couldn't find one to a -4, and I couldn't reduce it in a way that I thought would look good. So I can't go to a -6. But then also on here, the fitting that I have is a -4, so I'd have to change the whole steam port configuration in order to go to a -6. So what I decided to do is, it comes with this plug that normally would, be in here if you don't have your steam port. So what I'm going to do is drill the center of this, and I'm going to tap this 1/8 inch pipe, and I'm just going to take the fitting that was already in the other water pump, and I'm just going to screw it in here. And then that's going to be my -4, so that'd be my low pressure for my steam ports. So that's what I'm going to do with it. And then I'll just use the fitting. I'll screw it in and then use the fitting to tighten everything up to get it where I need to be. Now I have all these extra fittings in -6. I'll have to use for another rainy day. So this is the bracket out of the bag like I showed you. So you can see on the cast iron blocks, it doesn't have the provision drilled. It has a casting for it, no hole. So this template here, so it's designed to bolt down here and then to the cylinder head. And these are a snug fitting deal. So there's not much slop in there. So it goes to the cylinder head here, and then it goes to the lower spot here on the block. And depending on your head gaskets and stuff, it could be a little bit tricky to get this started. It's going to be tight. You want it tight to locate it where you need it to be. We got it started. We got to give it, push it over a little bit. So just snug that down. Snug the bottom one down. So that's where we need to drill our first hole. Just put our drill bit in there and drill it. You got to be careful because this only goes so far. So you don't need to get crazy and drill it through the whole world. You only have this thickness right here, this ear. So now I'm gonna grab a drill bit. I'm gonna drill this guy out, and then we can step it up to the size we need to be. We want it to be the same size as this. So then we'll step it up, we'll tap it, and then we can put our bracket on. Yeah, factory, bolts right in. So now we're gonna put the water pump on. I already cleaned off the surface. I scraped it down, any residue from the old gasket, so now I'm gonna put the pump on it. So we'll take this bolt back out right now, and this is the one we're gonna use. It's just a tester bolt. So we got our bolts in here holding our gaskets. So we're gonna really carefully now get this guy lined up in here. Hopefully we don't lose nothing. Try to get 2 on each side so my gasket doesn't spin. Man, look at that. Isn't that nice? Just making power. Let's see if the lower one's gonna make it. Oh man, not even close.
Not even close, man.
Not even close. We're gonna have to redesign that too. So this is what I'm gonna do with the steam ports. So I have the plug that comes in the pump here for the low pressure side. So I'm gonna put a hole in the center, 1/8 inch pipe, and then I'm gonna take my original fitting that I had on the water pump here, that's in the reducer. So that's gonna pretty much go in here. I got another new line. I got 3 feet of -4. So now I'm going to tap the center here, my 1/8 inch pipe, so I can install my fitting. So I really don't have the best way to hold this in order to drill it. So I'm gonna hopefully be careful. I got just a pair of channel locks here. It's aluminum, so we're just gonna drill it slow. So we got our pipe tap, the 11/32, the drill bit we need for that tap. So we're just gonna try to hold this guy and carefully go straight with it.
2 hours later.
So now I'm gonna go ahead and carefully tap it out. Kind of want to work it back and forth because this is tapered. All pipe threads are tapered. So if you want the fitting to go lower, you just got to tap it a little bit more. But I pretty much want this fitting, the threads to be even on the bottom here. So we're gonna add a little Teflon paste to our fitting here. Obviously you don't want any leaks. So I got the fitting put into it here, and I got it snugged down, and then you can see that it's plenty of room, that it's not gonna protrude out. So I'm gonna put it in now, and then I'm gonna tighten it all down by tightening up the fitting pretty much. And I'll tighten this, and then we'll tighten this, and then we can put our line on. So now that I got it all installed, this is what it looks like here. If you can get a look, see there? Got it all tightened down, so it worked out good. So now I just need to make the line now. I'm gonna come off of here straight, because I don't have room for a 90 because it'll hit the pump. So I'm gonna come off straight, and it's gonna loop around, and I got a 90 that goes up here. So that's gonna be my low pressure side, and then that's where my steam ports are gonna go to. There we go, we got our new line. I wound up having a piece of -4 left over, probably from the last time I did this. So I didn't have to open up the new guy. I'm gonna start down here. One that's harder to get to. Just snug down. We're gonna come up here to the top. So here we go, our new line. Now it comes around, goes to the low pressure side of the water pump, so it won't be forcing coolant back into the steam ports. That's how it should be set up. So the water pump's all done. So now we have the alternator. And one thing I didn't measure anything. I was just assuming that this guy was gonna fit in here no problem. So it's got this cover on here. Maybe if I take this cover off, I might have enough room. What I'm dealing with right now is I went to put this in here to check it. The hole that we added goes here to the alternator, and then the other one here goes on the bottom. So it uses those two holes so to mount like so. But you can see I'm hitting this cover on the subframe, and right now that's as far back as I can go. We're a little off on our belt. So I'm gonna try to take this rear cover off here because it's got this big breather on it to get fresh air on the F-bodies, and see if I can get it back. But we'll try it. If not, we might have to go to a drawing board, see about a smaller alternator, or maybe a little bit different bracketry. But I wanted to have the alternator down low out of the way. But we're gonna mess with this a little bit. We'll be back in a few days, a couple minutes for you. You won't even know the difference. You just blend right over. But we're gonna get this figured out. We're gonna come back, get it put on. All right, so it's been a little bit of time. I've been tinkering with this fine jewel, and originally I was planning on either taking this back cover off the alternator or cutting this little, it's like a fresh air little breather deal, and I just don't think it's gonna work. The cover, you can't take the cover off because it exposes the whole back of the alternator. I didn't like the idea of cutting this breather, so then I was gonna cut the subframe. I didn't really care for that idea because the engine mounts really close right there, and I really wanna put this alternator in that bracket. See, I got the setup on here, it's all loose still because the alternator would go here and go here. So then it would bolt up like so when I learned the tensioner. And then you got the engine mount pretty much right here. Subframe, and there's really not much room to be modifying it. So I checked some other options on alternators, and I mean, this isn't a conventional small block. The LS stuff is kind of limited on bracketry, and a lot of the brackets look like it's afterthoughts. And I'm having this battle with the alternator, which is already kind of, frustrating because I want it down low. And then ever since I put this engine in here, the oil pan that's on here is a C5, the Batwing pan, and I got it used because it was cracked. And then I had somebody else weld it, and it still leaks. So I was frustrated about the pan leaking. I don't like the pan. I don't like the way it fits the car. So I don't care for that. Now I can't get my alternator on there. Just, I don't like the manual gearbox. So then the whole topper here, the icing on the cake is I found this. I was checking out the engine. I was rolling the engine over, and it didn't seem right. And I ran into this. If you go all the way one way here, and you can see it's got slop in the timing chain that I'm not too excited about. I don't understand why it has slop. It's got a brand new chain in there. So that was the topper to the whole thing. So what I decided to do now is I'm ditching the whole subframe. So I ordered a Racecraft tubular subframe, and we're going to change it. So now we're going to go to a motor plate and a mid plate, and we're going to put the cage in the car like we've been talking about forever. So we're going to wait on the whole alternator deal. So now we're changing the whole enchilada. So we're holding off on finishing the hoses. You can see I got the upper hose on here. So the mid plate's going to go behind the water pump. So I'm going to have to machine these down a little bit. So more than likely I can just shorten this hose if need be. But the bottom hose is going to be different. So I'm going to wait to make that. And then now we're going to eliminate the problem of the mount and the frame being in the way, because now it eliminates the whole cradle in the center, and I can run my alternator down low. This is just a time. We decided just to get it fixed. So we're gonna be tearing it down. So we're gonna get it straightened out. So you're gonna get a whole series of videos. You get to see what's going on. Just so you know in advance, don't ask me no secrets, I'll tell you no lies. I don't know if we're gonna show everything what's going on with it. I do race the car. I don't really tell everything, but you can see the majority of it. But I think once I get to clear the frame, it's gonna hit the mount, so it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. It's going to hit the mount.
It doesn't matter because we got a whole new subframe coming.
It matters to us that you stay tuned. So hit the subscribe button down below. Check out the other videos that we got right here. And I will see you guys all in the next one. That's about it. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.